let's check on the parabola that is being in the format of a into x minus p all squared plus q. Right, in this case, regarding a is still shape of the graph. So let's try and see putting p0 and then putting q also at 0. Right. So our value of a is 1. So our graph is original is kind of f of x equals to you can see here it's 1x squared, which is x squared. That is the original graph. Then now a being positive, it means the graph will concave up. So now our graph indeed is concave up, it's having a smiley shape, and then still our a will still change. If it's changed to negative again in this shape, then it's also concave down, and then it means it has a maximum, and then going down, then here is having a minimum, then going up. So can you still see that the a is still affecting the shape of the graph? Now let's take it back to 1 so that we can manipulate the other values. Now let's go and manipulate the value of p. Now in this case, p is showing the x turning point on the graph. So for now, the x turning point here is what? Is 0. Now it means if we move p to the right, meaning b, let's say if we move p to be a positive, then a graph will shift to the left. That's what we agreed. And then now if you shift p to the negative, then the graph will move to the right. Now let's see if it's happening. Hence we said when it's saying x minus p, that will be the factor. But when you say x equals to p, that will be the root that is on the graph. So now, because for now our p here is as a factor, then when we move to a positive numbers, then the graph will go to the opposite side, being to the left. So let's check if it's happening. So p is 0, let's move to the positive. In this case, so in this case, p is saying, so it means p is now exactly what is on the graph here. P is what exactly that is on the graph. Sorry for that. Now it means that's why if I move p to the right, then it means the p will exactly move in that way. So now, but look at in the equation here. So in this equation here, now our p is becoming negative. So let's put p1. So it means here the p is the parameter here, meaning the x value is at what? At 1. But let's come and look at this one in the f of x equals to ax squared. Now if you look at this part, look at what is happening. The x, say x minus 1, but when it's outside is a root. So this simply means that the values, the parameters that are here, they are at the root, they are on the graph in that case. So you can see that it's saying root extra, meaning that this is the root, but which means the p here is also the root that is here. But in the equation, look at what is happening. I move to the positive, but in the equation is what? X minus 1. So that's what we are having here. Now, if I move p to the right further unit, maybe let's make it p2. Can you see the graph is moving to the right in this case? So it means the root here of p, of course, will be the root extra is what? Is 2 for the x. The y will remain the same because we're only moving in a horizontal shift. Then look at in the graph, x is x minus 2, but when it's outside, now it's a root, then that's when it's say x equals to 2, where p equals to 2, that's why it's here. Now if you move p to the left, now the graph is, now we're moving the root, So P is the root, then the graph is shifting to the left. That's why it's doing like that. But look at in the equation, it's saying x where here. So it's saying x plus 1, but here P is negative. So here's the root, here's the factor. So the factor is x plus 1, but when it comes out, this will be minus 1. That's what's happening here. That's why when you say we're shifting to the left, then it means in the bracket here of the equation will be positive. So if you shift to a minus 2, look at in the graph is x plus 2 here. Now if it's x plus 2, then you can see that now the graph will shift to the left by 2 units as it is here. Now that is the horizontal shift. Now let's go and put it to 1 so that we can affect other part. Now the other part, where is it? Is Q. So Q is the Y value at the turning point. So meaning here for now is 0. So it means the Q is shifting up or down, the vertical shift. Now let's shift Q to 1. So here is a direct way. The graph will go up by 1 unit. Can you see that it's going up? So 1 unit, then that's why it's saying plus 1 at the end of this equation. The Q here, same plus 1. So if you move to 1 step further up, then the graph is shifting up. So it means we moved 2 units up in that case for this value of Q. So it's 1.9. Now it's 2. So it shows that the value of Y at the turning point is 2. So meaning that if we shift Q downwards, then of course it should be the negative. Even on the equation, that is also saying minus 1. So we moved 1 unit down. So if you move another 1 unit down, can you see the graph shifting down? And it means it's a direct way saying now our Q is negative 2. Then that is a direct vertical shift. It's only changing with the x value, the x shift. That's when it gets to the equation, it changes the sign. So that is the movement of the two parameters Q and P. That's how they affect the graph. So it means if you shift here, if you are at 0, let's put it at 0 and see. And this one is also at 0. This is the original graph. Now when you change in P and Q, now of course if you start by P, now we need to shift 2 units to the right. So it means we'll do like this, 2 units to the right. Then after shifting 2 units to the right from the original graph, this will be the shape. But now we need also to shift the graph. Let's shift 1 unit up on the Q. So 1 unit up, now that will be the new graph of a parabola in this case. So this graph is not cutting the x-axis. It means it has no roots. So, but then if you want the graph to have the roots, meaning that we can shift the graph down. Now here, when the graph is here, it's having the equal roots, but we'll get more into details when we're doing the nature of the roots. Maybe we'll come back here to tell whether it's no roots or what. But this will have 1 equal root or 2 equal roots, and then I was starting to have the unequal roots and so on, but it's shifting down and so on. Now that is what each parameter on the graph is affecting the shifting of the graph. So A, we've talked about, is changing the shape. So if you take it to the negative, you can see that the graph will become negative in that case. So A will never be 0, because if A is 0, then now we're coming to a straight line graph. So with the coefficient of x squared being multiplied by 0, can go to the straight line graph, which in this case is just the only y equals to minus 3, because the whole part of the bracket will be multiplied by 0. So check this video again, it's also there on the equations of the lines. Now we'll end here.